Even COVID, that black swan event, no one saw that coming, and COVID saw increased occupancy and increased price rents. And so from the financial disaster 2008, when self-storage did very well, and with COVID, a health pandemic crisis that we dealt with, both those things, self-storage came out as a excellent opportunity. And so it has proven to be very good in good times and in bad. In good times, people buy more things, they need to put more space in it. In bad times, people have uncertainty, have to downsize, have to move in with each other. And so storage is great for both the good times and the bad times. It also, and this is from an acquisition standpoint, and this is very strong for somebody like yourself who's probably looking for your first deal, underwriting deals is very important. And doing self-storage, when you're just dealing with concrete and steel, you're not dealing with looking at and having to do rehab estimations on bathrooms and kitchens and looking at all of the complex heating and cooling systems and all of these things that you have to do with residential. It is easier to underwrite than most other asset classes. That was one of the big reasons why I got involved. Also, great financing opportunities. Banks absolutely love storage. Storage has one of the lowest default rates out of any type of loans that banks do. So if they know that even if you're not even a great owner, operator, they still know that the chance of you being able to pay their note is very, very high. So they love self-storage. It's become much more knowledgeable, or banks are a lot more knowledgeable about self-storage. There's a very good chance, even local small community banks, that they've done self-storage deals before, and we have received nothing but very good feedback from lenders, community banks, as well as also national banks when it comes to financing our storage deals. Now, does it help to have a dentist that has very good income and has had very good income for years and years? Absolutely. And that's one of the beautiful things, again, about storage and about commercial real estate in general, is that these deals are big enough where if you find a good enough deal, it does not matter if you don't have a bunch of capital, if you don't have a bunch of great credit and work history and experience. You can find people that are hungry to get involved in good deals, and they will partner up with you, and they will bring what you don't have. I cannot state this enough. You don't even have to be American. You don't have to have a social security number. You find good enough deals, and you put it under contract, and you find investors, and it could be even us, that we'll be willing to partner up with you and help you get your first deal done. Obviously, it's a deal-by-deal basis, but we love the idea of working with our coaching clients. And so that's why it's so important to focus on finding the deal, and then you go from there. So great financing. Banks love storage. Also, simple construction. As I mentioned, you're dealing with concrete and steel. You're not dealing with high-end improvements. You're not dealing with bathrooms and kitchens and heating and cooling and all these things that that are a lot more costly and a lot more complicated than simple self-storage facilities. Now, there are climate control ones where there is some heating and cooling, or one of the two that are involved. But in general, it is a lot more simple construction and upkeep than normal residential houses, and that is a beautiful thing. So let's talk about more. Economies of scale. This is one of the huge reasons why self-storage is absolutely way better than residential real estate. Self-storage, if you understand self-storage and you understand the potential of it and you understand economies of scale, you will never, ever think about doing a regular house, duplex, smaller residential deal. You won't do it. There's not enough meat on the bone. And because the margins are smaller and smaller, a couple of screw-ups, a couple of misanalysis being done, and you can actually be underwater and have to sell at a loss. Okay? You want to have bigger spreads. You want to have more margins of error, and self-storage allows that a lot better than dealing with houses and duplexes and these, smaller assets. So you can choose to do 20 facilities as opposed to 2,000 houses. It's way easier. Dealing with 10 sellers, 10 contracts, 10 closings, 10 loans, 10 sites, or you can do, or you have to deal with 100 sellers, 100 contracts, 100 closings, 100 inspections. And the thing is that those 10 self-storage deals can be bigger than the 100 houses. And so you can do both. You can build wealth both ways. I've met folks that have made and have created wealth in residential, but it's like going in slow mode. It's like going on hard mode. It's like deciding that you're going to do something when you can do something a lot faster and a lot easier and a lot safer and less risky. That's what people think. They think all these bigger deals, it's more risk. I'm going to have to do more capital, more all these things. Absolutely not. You do bigger deals and there's more meat on the bone to find and bring in other partners to help you out, to take a look at it, to do the due diligence with you, to put their name on the loan, to bring the capital required. So commercial is the way to go. If you go through this program and you ever think about going back to houses, something is wrong. You need to watch this program once again. Only successful residential investors for holds have huge staffs and very few get to the level of large asset ownership. Managing people is challenging and expensive. Okay, I know some of the most successful residential investors that are in the US, guys that are doing education on residential and doing houses and duplexes. And they're all looking and asking me questions about self-storage. They don't like the idea that they have to have these huge staffs. They don't like the idea that they buy a house for $40,000, they have to put $20,000 into it, and then they got $10,000 in equity because their construction and rehab costs were higher than what they thought. They don't like doing that. They like the idea of having larger spreads. They like the idea of having a $5 million facility as opposed to doing $150,000 deals. Forget that. Okay. Think big, think economies of scale, think of becoming very good with one area and getting deals under contract, and you can find all the other people. And when you have the deal under contract, you call the shots. You decide who you want to work with. You decide how much equity that you're going to give up. You decide what areas that you want to do when it comes to splitting up and who's going to get what with the deal. When you control the deal, you control what happens with it. That's why getting these deals under contract and learning how to analyze it is so freaking important and why we focus so much on it. Do bigger deals with a team, focus and try to perfect one role before moving on. All right, so that is a little bit more about why we chose real estate or self-storage investing, a little bit more about us, and hopefully this really drives it in how awesome of an industry self-storage is and why it deserves your attention and why it deserves your action. So that is the completion of this module, and we will go on to the next module. I hope you are enjoying this.